Welcome to Playing the Big, Beautiful Long Game, where entrepreneurship meets spirituality. In this podcast, we explore the intersection of personal fulfillment, spiritual growth, and business success. This podcast delves into the idea that entrepreneurship is not just about profits or growing businesses. It's also about embracing purpose, meaning, and inner growth. Each episode features conversations with entrepreneurs and thought leaders who share their journeys of building businesses that align with their highest values and deepest calling. I'm your host, Debbie Zita. Sit back, relax, and thank you for being here. Welcome, Jocelyn. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you taking the time and the energy to be with me and my audience today. Can you please let us know who you are and what it is that you do?
Absolutely. Thanks, Debbie, for inviting me to be part of your podcast show. It is definitely a great channel to really broadcast a lot of entrepreneurs' work around your network and the broader global community as well, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And who am I? I'm Jocelyn Chong. I'm the best in corporate training, keynote speaking, and also I love facilitating private events and retreats. So that's what I do. And where I focus on is I focus on partners and directors in the legal and financial services where I support them to transition in their leadership so that they are leading, with a lot from their heart and not just from their head, and also from a spirit that they absolutely just want to do the best in their role without burning out and feeling overwhelmed as well. So that is where I focus my time, my energy in. And I love what I do.
Amazing. Jocelyn, can you share with us a bit about how did you get started in that space?
Yes, so a bit of a background of where I have started to pursue this area of work. I came from banking and finance, and in the last 23 years, I've worked in accountancy, I've worked in banking, I worked with a lot of top three leading banks in Australia. And I've witnessed and learned that there is a lot of opportunities for people to grow in leadership, especially for female. But a lot of female pull away and they feel that they are inadequate or they're not good enough. And I hear a lot of comments around, they're not supported. And I felt that after my corporate role, I wanted to do something that I can add value and create a lot of group community that can support women in this area.
Yeah.
So in the last few years, I had the opportunity to work alongside people in the US and had a lot of my own personal growth and realized over time with different programs, different offers that I create that right now I'm most aligned to support this group of women to help them upgrade their skills and help them connect deeper with themselves as well. So that was my journey in, a couple of minutes. But I could go deeper if necessary. And I have just, learned a lot in my lifetime.
Yeah, it's amazing to be able to use the wisdom that we learn from our personal lives and our development journeys and then apply that back into our businesses and our careers. And I think also learning and sharing with each other and from each other is a beautiful place to come from. I'm curious to find out, so legal and finance, I actually don't have a corporate background myself. Can you for me and also for anyone listening who might be wondering how it all kind of fits in and who your person is, if they're listening and thinking, well, is that me? Does that, do I count? Is that solopreneurs? Is it like coaches, or is it more so, small to medium-sized businesses or the larger corporations that you work with, or all of the above?
So I attract a lot of partners and directors in second tier and first tier companies in the legal sector, and also in the banking sector, insurance, and also superannuation. So that group of people are my people because I've been working with them in my corporate career. Yeah. But at the same time, I also attract a lot of entrepreneurs who came from corporate background
Yes.
who can resonate with my work, that they also come in and learn and grow and take on my tools, my strategies, and apply that into their own transition from corporate into their own corporate businesses as well. So absolutely.
Thank you. I would love to find out, which of course is the name of the podcast. But Jocelyn, what does playing bigger, playing beautiful mean to you?
I think with us as human beings, a lot of times we tend to play small because of, the upbringing or things in our lives that kept us small. But where I think this podcast title play a very, very key role is that it is encouraging people to think more than who they are, because we are all unique beings. We are meant to live a big life, and we all have unique talents, skills, and knowledge that we can share in this world. Our voice matters, and that when we allow ourselves, the key word here is you need to give yourself the permission to do that, because if you don't, you continue to retreat back in that standard space or position that you're in. And I hope that messages through this podcast invites you to think bigger, because you've got one life to live. Live it grandest, biggest, boldest, as famous as you should be, because it is meant to be that way. We are meant to be living abundantly that way. Yeah. And in that, when we do that from a heart to serve others, not the opposite. And so live big in a way that actually adds value to this world. And the universe actually wants us to do that. The universe actually wants us to live prosperously. So that is where I see this title play a very important part to all our listeners and our audience and anyone who come across this message.
Yeah, thank you, Jocelyn. And I think you may have answered this, but I'm going to ask you this question. How have you aligned your business with your purpose?
So my purpose always comes first before my business, because that is important for me. And I've discovered over the years that I have not discovered my purpose, and I've done work because I think that was the normal blueprint that everyone's done, and that's the template that everyone needs to apply for a successful life. And I've done a lot of internal work over the years to realize that your true purpose must come first, because number one, you're a human being. You're worthy to be living on this planet before your titles, before anything else. You and I came on to this earth for that, and you are fully valued, you're fully worthy, and that is number one. And all of us have got a defined purpose, and it is important for us to find our purpose if you have not found it yet, because it's within you. And if you allow yourself to go through that self-discovery journey and identify that, once you know your purpose, the rest of your calling, whether it's business or life or any other roles that you play, it will come into alignment. Yeah. So that would be the way I approach it.
Yeah, thank you. It's a beautiful sharing. Do you think also that our purpose can change over the cycles of our lives as well?
Our purpose always evolve, because we are not meant to just do one thing. Yeah. We are meant to do more. As we grow, we have more skills, we have got more exposure, we've got more experiences, and it's important to pass them on, because then it gives us the room in our brain, our universe, to create even more. We are creatures of creation. And once we create that, we let the world enjoy it, there's more to create again. And so it is, evolving. And the more we identify and use our own unique talents, our gifts, the more we contribute to this world. And so everyone has got their unique calling. Everyone is wonderfully created. Everyone has got their own gifts and talents that they can share into this world. It doesn't matter where you are, what age, and what country or what nationality you come from. Everyone in this world has got a unique purpose on this planet for the duration that you're here.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautifully said. I'm curious, Jocelyn, because I know for me, I'm thinking back to one of the first talks I gave back in 2012, and the topic was discovering your life purpose. And I stood on the stage and was, delivering this beautiful content, but inside of myself, I was actually coming to the end of a chapter. It was the end of my marriage, and my son was very little, and there was lots and lots of things happening in my world. And then I went on, I'd say probably a good 10-year journey of self-discovery. And that's when I really came across the particular meditation practice that I advocate and the understanding around self-inquiry and delving into those different understandings of self, and hence the work and everything that we have behind us here. But did you ever have a time when you felt that you weren't as clear about your purpose?
Absolutely. There are a number
Yeah,
of occasions in my life journey that, I was living someone else's purpose
yeah,
and I was living someone else's dreams because it was accepted that way. And I realized that there is such a distance between who my authentic self is than
yeah,
the work that I do. And so I realized that I have to be honest and transparent to myself and go, that is not what I enjoy anymore. Even though I can make it happen, I can work hard to achieve it, and I can get accolades, I can, you know, do all the necessary work to thrive, so-called inverted commas, but deep down, my heart was not where it should be. I'm not happy and I'm not around people that I enjoy. And it was so far removed from that true purpose. And every so often I hear that small, still voice saying, you are meant for more.
mm,
And what you're doing, yes, is good work, but there is more. So don't just settle just because your surroundings sends you the message that you can settle because you tick all the boxes that society expects that you've done well. And that's the measure that society said that's a successful person.
yeah,
And that's mean that you've done enough. But there is more. And so when I honor that voice and when I take time out and remove myself to have that deep connection with me,
yes.
that's where I know there is more to me.
Yeah, amazing. Do you have a tool or a practice that I'm just thinking if we have someone who's listening who's thinking or feeling into this and wondering, maybe that's me, maybe I'm not quite where my purpose would like me to be, or maybe I'm not quite living my current purpose. What is a practice or a tool that you can offer to someone listening to this?
So for me, the three tools that I use a lot and every day I practice them is journaling.
Yeah,
So journaling to identify what does your future self wants you to do for today and what's your contribution today, be it 1%, be it 2%, what's the contribution for today? And I journal every single day. And journaling is not just writing mindlessly, it's actually allowing your true connection with your authentic self and your higher self to allow it to guide you.
yes,
And when you have time to yourself and you honor that time, you will know because journaling is one of the most powerful tools to allow yourself to release any limiting beliefs, any history that holds you back from the greatest future that's waiting for you right now.
yes,
And it's important to do that consistently because there's always new things coming through. The second thing that I do is meditation, but meditation in a way that is not just emptying your brain. Meditation in a way that really gets you to connect with God, source, your higher self, and draw upon the wisdom that you can pull in and implement and let it guide your journey today. right? So that is the kind of meditation that I do. And I also intentionally very much so work alongside with, different modalities that come my way in different seasons of life.
Yes.
And so be it yoga that really calms me down, or be it in a community that supports me from my spiritual growth, or it could be books that I read that just really empowers me to digest the words of truth, that I can just really, really let it sink in, let it be embodied in my soul, in my spirit. Not just words that can read pages after pages, but it means nothing. It's a disconnect there.
Yeah,
So,
actually
yeah,
feeling that, embodying that space, having that land in your heart center. Yeah. I'm curious to find out,
yeah.
is there a particular, my favorite is open heart meditation. That's the pathway that led me to understanding meditation and opening my own heart and then guiding others into that beautiful space. There's so many though. There's so many different meditations that we can do. Is there a particular, I guess, practice or teacher that you follow, or is it just more something that you found on your own?
I think throughout my journey, I had come across different teachers that teach, but the ones that resonate most with me, that I always come back to, is connecting to the light, the
Yeah,
purest form of light,
yeah,
because I am a light being. I am soul and light. I am salt and light. And so for me, connecting with light, and for me, the light cleanses every form of darkness and removes all fears. And so I do that light meditation.
beautiful.
So that's,
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah, that's beautiful. It's so important to have something, to find that practice that connects us into that place of being home within ourselves. And what I've also learned and want to, I guess, share with the listeners is if you're, new to meditation or new to spirituality or any of these concepts, please do find what works for you. And also if you've been on the path for a while, it's okay to to try new things while also being loyal still to what you're currently practicing. That took me a while because I felt like I was, having to stay in this one area, but something in me was calling to connect with other people and other practices. So that's my base, but there's, so much goodness in so many different spaces. Jocelyn, what does spirituality mean to you?
for me, spirituality, number one, is the breath of life. So without breath, we have no life, and we're not spirit anymore, we're just body. And the reason why I say that is I've discovered that through two very personal events that I witnessed. So one of them in 2014, when my grandmother passed away, and I witnessed how we are spirit being, because I was so close to her on the last week before her death, and to the last 20 minutes, being with her, knowing someone who breathes and knowing someone whose the breath has just been the last one. And when you are having that privilege to be in that environment,
Yeah.
it is powerful. Then it's you can't deny the fact that we are spirit being. So that's number one. And then last year, I had the opportunity to witness how my father-in-law also transitioned across in that very way, where you see someone breathing and then someone breathing their last. And when those type of events is part of your life, as listeners, you may or may not have got that opportunity. It is such deep honor to know we are spirit being, and so appreciate the breath that we have got every single day, because it's the breath that keeps us going. It's
Yes.
the breath that keeps us alive, and our breath then translates to our energy. And so when you breathe low, your energy is low. When you're in times of stress, the way you breathe and your rhythm is very different. And when you calm yourself, your breathing patterns are very different. And so breath of life is power, and that's spirituality to me. So when I start with my meditation, that's the first thing I'm connected to, the breath of life. And then from there, it's connecting to God, my source, divinity, all that intelligence that's within me, and divine. guidance is within us. It's not outside of us, it's truly within us. It's active, it's living, and it's wanting to be with us. And so that is the world of spirituality for me, that is important, that I practice, that I'm connected to, that I'm conscious of. And I like that to be integrated in every aspect of my world. So that's how I would like to define
Mm.
spirituality.
Thank you so much, Jocelyn. That is such a beautiful sharing. I love how, I've asked this question a bunch of times and the answer is always different because it means something different to us. Um, I'm so sorry for your losses. It's a really humbling and awakening experience to witness those that we love transition. And it's interesting. I'll be 44 in a couple of weeks, and I often say I've witnessed more transitions of family and friends than those that are actually still here in terms of those really close bonds. And I think that journey for me, it happened. The first person I lost was my mum when I was 27 and pregnant, and it was a huge shock. And that was the start really of me seeking God and or source, or I always say, please change that word if that triggers anybody, because it's whatever word works for you. But, my background wasn't sort of the corporate and seeking anything out side of me. It was so much of, I think part of it was to cope with the loss because I felt so hurt and so broken, was to go into that realm. And then as I went into my 30s and now my 40s, I sort of found my body, if you like, and realized, oh yeah, I really do actually, I have to eat and sleep and earn money and all those things. So it's really kind of funny to me that that's been, my journey. But yeah, we are so much more than just this. And also for anyone on that spectrum who's like me and kind of thinks of themselves as a bit of a, not that I think of myself as a fairy or an angel, but those other realms feel more real. We actually, I believe we need both. It's part of that balance is understanding ourselves as source energy and instruments, and then also really honoring that the body and loving ourselves and taking care of our bodies. And yeah, wanting to just, I guess, reflect back to you what a privilege it is to have been in the room to witness. I must say my being tends to run away at that point because I don't want to see, but I connect spiritually and do my prayers and meditations with those I love in that sort of realm. But it is a privilege, isn't it, to be able to experience that in this life. Yeah, thank you for reminding us of that. It's beautiful. How do you think that we can integrate spirituality, and especially, by your own definition of spirituality, into entrepreneurship?
I think we are spirit beings. So to integrate that every single morning when you wake up, it's a great day to be alive,
Yeah.
To really integrate it the best way, the best tool that you can always come back every single day is to practice deep gratitude.
Yes.
Wake up knowing that, hey, you know what? I've got shelter, I've got food in my fridge, I've got water, I've got power,
Yeah.
I've got friends. I get to choose what I want to do. I get to live in this country.
Yeah.
I get to buy things that I like. I get to watch the sunset, the sunrise. There's so many things that we can practice gratitude for, and that's foundational.
Yeah.
And that raises the vibration because when we are coming from a thankful spirit and a grateful heart, things just flow for us because the more good you invite, the more good comes.
Mhm.
Is actually truth that the more you give, the more you have to give. The more abundance you practice, the more abundance will flow. The more prosperity you look for, the more prosperity will flow in. And so it is the law of the universe
Yeah.
that if you practice that,
Mm.
you also repel things that are against that for you and you protect yourself from that.
Yeah,
And
so
it's so
true.
important to practice that abundant spirit because we do live in a very challenging world every single day and people are hurt. And so, the saying that hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
And so, if we can shift that and practice good,
Mm.
do the good for others, do the good for the highest good for someone else, whatever work that you do,
Mm.
whether it's, making a cup of coffee for your colleagues or, taking your kids to the school or, watering the neighbor's garden when they are away on holidays, whatever it may be, do the good for the highest good of the world because the world needs that. The world doesn't have enough examples of that we can give. And because the law is the moment you give, there is more to give. And that is the unique law.
Yeah.
And that's the formula of success in this world, is that
Mm.
you're never going to run out. There's never running out because there's endless supply from the universe. There's always more to give. And so don't hold on to something
Yeah.
because holding on to something actually denies of yourself the opportunity of more.
Mm.
And so just, give it away and create room for even more opportunities, good chances, synchronicities, miracles, magic to happen. And that will make a huge difference in our world.
Yeah, beautiful. I would love to, I want to find out your opinion on this because part of the practice when I was sort of learning about the heart, and I'm a natural giver anyway. My background, I'm a therapist, I'm a social worker, and when I look back at even when I was sort of in kindergarten, I was the one that would welcome any new people and give them a hug, and like that's who I am. And then I went through a phase where I almost forgot myself and I stopped giving to myself. But I didn't know because it happened over time gradually. And it became acceptable that I was just giving to everybody else. And I've noticed, and it's not uncommon as, as coaches and facilitators and trainers and entrepreneurs, we tend to draw in other, past and present and future versions of ourselves. So I'm sure that there'll be women and also men listening who go, oh yeah, I've just got to give more. I've got to, just, water more gardens of my neighbors and buy more coffee for my friends. But I'm just wondering, how do we know to, or how can we also, give to so many people and also remember that that includes myself? Do you have any words of wisdom for that one, Jocelyn?
So here's the thing. Before you give to others, you need to give to yourself because you can only give out of what you know and what out of what you can experience. So if you love yourself more, you can give more love. If you accept yourself more, you can accept others even more. If you approve yourself more, you approve others more. If you don't judge, guess what? You're not going to judge them. It will trigger you very little. And so, number one is fill your own heart, your own spirit with goodness. Whether it's treating yourself with words of affirmation that you let it play and let it be the primary thought of your mind, how much you love yourself, how much you accept yourself. It's never selfish to do that. Because if you don't do that, you can only give out of the same measure that you treat yourself. We are mirrors of the reflection of the people around us. And so test that if you want to, is that if you think about this phrase, I experience love wherever I go, and you test it in your brain. You don't judge it, you just think about it as your primary thought for 7 days. You watch how it connects with your heart, it connects with your gut, it connects with every fiber of your being, and you radiate that, it will actually reflect that back to you.
Yeah.
And so it is a simple experiment, but I invite people to do that,
I love that. And if you saw,
right?
if anyone's watching the visual, I'm darting around because I was looking for my Louise Hay Power Thought cards, which I have just there, right there. But one of the cards is that there is love wherever I go. It's actually pretty much exactly what you just said. And yeah, it's powerful. And I have to say, one of the reasons I love doing this work and doing this podcast is because it's constant reminders for me as well. Sometimes you slip into old habits or you forget and you think, no, no, I'm okay. But there's always another layer or piece of that we can go deeper into that space, deeper into gratitude, deeper into self-awareness, deeper into abundance in whatever form, that takes for us. So yeah, I love that. Please, can you repeat that, the mantra or the affirmation again for us, Jocelyn?
I experience love wherever I go. I experience love wherever I go. I experience love wherever I go. Do that with eyeball to eyeball in the mirror with your own eyes. Because if you do the mirror work and you look at yourself in the eyes and you love yourself, you will see the world very differently. You will see the world very differently.
Yeah.
So I do that a lot, every morning where I do my makeup. I have to do my, eyes and my eyebrows. It's like, yep, I love me. I love me. I love and approve me.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're, on the queue or anything like that, you can just repeat, you know what? I accept me. I approve of what I do. I give myself full permission.
Yeah.
I love me. That's why I am good and I am a source of blessing into this world.
Beautiful. And I love, it took me a while to do this, but even the power of recording your own voice and then playing that back and hearing yourself. And I know some people will go, ooh, but it's so powerful. I used to hate the sound of my voice when I was younger. And then as I've evolved and doing this work, I'm like, I think you better be okay with it because you're going to be doing it every day. So yeah, hearing your own voice. I love you so much. You're beautiful. You're doing amazing. Whatever it is that we're saying back and really just taking the time, as you mentioned before, not just hearing it as words, but really allowing that to land. And if it's not landing, connecting in with that part of us that is kind of repelling or triggered by that and just holding that space as well for that part. And I had to write a note because I think that might be the name of the title of this particular podcast is I experience love wherever I go. So I hope that works for you as well, Jocelyn. Okay,
Absolutely.
thank you. I would love to find out how do you cultivate inner peace while growing out of success?
Yes. So with success, you will have challenges because if you see the challenges as opportunities for growth, then when they come across any obstacle or challenges, you are able to rise and find ways to overcome it. And so the faster we fail forward, the faster we're going to grow. The resistance of wanting to come to terms with something is then shortchanging your ability to grow, whether it's your business or areas in your life that you're looking for growth. And so, what are you afraid of? I want to ask everyone,
Yeah.
what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? Let fear fuel you, as in FUEL. Let fear use it as a fuel
Yeah.
to your success. And then ask yourself this question and journal, what am I afraid of? Like journal it out. Like journal like nobody is witnessing you journaling it and pour out everything on the pages. And if you fear that anyone reads it, burn it.
Yeah.
Burn it. Right? And so anything that we fear of is because there's something in it that we need to work on.
Yeah.
So anything that we resist, it is actually giving us a signal and go, oh, this is something. I want to explore that further.
Yeah.
Because if you go, what if it's possible on the other side,
Yeah.
right? There's always black and white. There is always night and day. So there must be something opposite of this. And what if the opposite is true? And I've not given myself to explore that. And I've lived in this side of this thinking for the last X amount of decades. And it held me back from the biggest possibilities in this world that I could contribute to.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
It's the
So it's
Go ahead.
the exploration, it's the self-exploration. And what is the worst case scenario? You find more about yourself. You seriously will. And sometimes when I coach my clients, I ask them, so what exactly are you afraid of?
Yeah.
Like, what would be the worst case scenario in this space that I'm holding this energy for you? And I know that you have limitless potential. What is the fear behind that?
Yeah.
Let's explore that. Let's play. Let's
Mhm.
play and explore that. What would be the worst case scenario?
Yeah. It's pretty amazing what comes up, right? And that's often, I guess, the shadow parts of ourselves or the disowned parts that we haven't been either brave enough or courageous enough, or just haven't had the time because we've been, raising children and caring for different aspects of our lives, and then taking, sometimes it's life chooses for us where we have to kind of go, oh, I have to take a look here, what's going on, or we can meet those parts, I guess, consciously, through self-inquiry, through meditation, through therapy, through just quiet time in nature or whatever it is for ourselves that connects us to those parts. And yeah, and not being afraid, as you say so beautifully, just allowing yourself, what are you afraid of? And I was noticing myself thinking, yeah, what is that there? Oh, wait, I'm hosting the podcast. Don't ask that question, because I also don't really have a very good poker face. So if I go into it, it's like, wait, what's going on? Because there's always more work to do, right? It's like there's always, again, more layers. And, as you mentioned, what we resist persists. We think we can just go, I'll put that down there, but it's like, there it is again, there it is again. It's like, okay, let's sit with this. And a good coach, it's amazing having a good coach that you resonate with, that has the training to be able to sit outside of your ecosystem and bring you into that space of holding space for you in all of your parts and help you unwrap and unpack. Because podcasts are amazing. We can have shifts, many shifts in this type of format, but sometimes we also need to actually, book in with Jocelyn, book in with me, book in with someone, and just really sit in that sacred space of unpacking in that one-to-one environment as well. Jocelyn, how do you overcome limiting beliefs and embody abundance?
As different layers of limiting beliefs turn up, is to really work on them. And I ask a lot of the question around why. A lot of times it's like, I don't think so. I want to do this. Hang on, why? Jocelyn, why did you resist this? Why do you think? Let's explore this. Let's go beneath. And there are days where I go deep by asking why 7 times. Why? So why, Jocelyn? Why? And just really peel out that layer of limiting beliefs. And once it is really showing up, wow, actually, it's all these stories that I held on to, or it's a statement that someone said and I cling on to that, but they didn't have authority, but I gave them authority over my life, and they rule the rest of my 5 years of my life with one statement.
Mm.
Nah, hang on. I can change that. I can shift that around. And I can shift that around in 60 seconds reset. Because I do that deep breathing meditation that I go, I'm going to breathe clarity and focus into it. But I'm going to blow out all the resistance, the patterns that kept me from my highest good.
Mm.
And do that cycle. If you do that for 1 hour, you will completely transform your life. You do that for 1 minute, you'll feel the difference in your body. It is the investment in you, right? And that's where I learned that if I keep rushing and I keep saying I'm busy and I can put it off, I will never then live my best life because it's still with me. But if I choose to instantly alchemize that today by devoting that time and go, I'm going to let you go. And I do a lot of burning ceremony, especially for things that are just like it's it's necessary. I do a lot of the burning ceremony because then to me it's just it has no power, no authority, no dominion, no anything in my life ever again.
Mm.
And it's very powerful for me. And then I don't give room. When I notice that my brain would go, oh, I don't know, I'll go like, hang on, you know. It's allowing affirmations, it's allowing words of truth to really conquer the brain. Because we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. Over 95% of them are repeated thoughts of the past. And until we shift them around and let the new thoughts be the new dominant thought, the old ones want to keep us safe.
Yeah.
The old ones to keep us small because it's the right thing to do. But your brain, your subconscious brain, doesn't know any different. And so when you train and consciously put that into practice, you can control a lot of those limiting beliefs. And then you see the shift in your behavior, the way you feel, the way you take inspired action, the way you are being the person you're meant to be. And so it is that I practice, but it's a lot of self-training.
Yeah,
It is
I
a
love
lot of
this.
self-identification.
Yes.
And it's
Yeah.
a lot of observing myself and pull out, right? If you think about, I do this practice a lot with my clients is that I have two seats and I go, all right, if I'm observing two human beings of the same, Jocelyn A and Jocelyn B, and they're interacting, what would they say? And how can I observe that those are stories if I knew the truth, right? And so be the observer of your life, and you can also practice this. And it's actually magic when you watch that, go like, oh my God, this is how I look like, you know? And that is fascinating. So
Yeah.
I can go into, different modalities and I suppose different tools and strategies that, I practice. But yeah, be the observer of your life and really like nipped in the bud. Anything that go doubtful, create confusion, victimized mentality, excuses, just really nipped it and go, look, I can control. I can control. And nobody can control that for you unless you allow yourself to control it.
Yeah, so true. That does not have a power over us unless we give it the power over us. And I think it comes back to, what I'm hearing you talking about again, it's awareness. It's awareness of those 60 plus thousand thoughts that we're having and slowing everything down, through the breath, through different practices, so that we can go, oh, hang on, wait, there it is, going to catch that. And thank you, no, thank you. Rather than we go down that rabbit hole and then before we know it, we're in a huff and a puff and we're angry and we're feeling sad and depressed and overwhelmed. And it's, why? Wait, hang on. How did I get here? Oh, yes. A few moments ago, I was making a cup of tea and this thought popped in because I heard a song that reminded me of such and such that my auntie spoke to, whatever the story is, right? And back we go. And that's all in our subconscious mind. So catching it quickly. I heard recently on a podcast, a coach was talking about naming that part of us or naming that voice. And I've actually tried that. It works really well. Mine is Bob. So if you're Bob and you're listening, we still love you, Bob. That just happens to be the name of my inner dialogue. And I'll just go, hey, Bob, love you, but not today. Thank you. So that's another kind of an easy, good one to use. I'm wondering, Jocelyn, have you had the opportunity to read through? And if you haven't, don't worry, I can bring it up onto the screen as well. But the six selves, which is the beautiful framework behind us, and I can. Would you like me to bring it up onto the screen just to jog your memory around which one's your favorite? Yeah. So the question is, what is your favorite self and why?
I love the legacy self because the ability to live an authentic and graceful self-expression is important to me because I want to be the best reflection of me in this world. And so I want to be known. That's why my company name is Seed to Sequoia, because I will continue to sow seeds in this world. Some will grow quicker than the others, and that sequoia is the longest, largest living tree that is around for thousands of years. And
Oh, wow.
so the question that you had, what do I want to be known for 1,000 years after I'm gone, is for that reason.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
gorgeous. And we'll absolutely have all of the links and everything in the show notes to make sure that people can find you. And I love that you have such a clear answer to this question because sometimes, we have the feeling of it, but it's not always easy to articulate. But when we're in a place of clarity around our purpose, which obviously clearly you are, it comes through, in the tone of voice and your body language and the authenticity and the passion that you hold for it. So tell us again the name of the business.
Seed to Sequoia Consulting.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. We've got one just little last question before we do finish up. And that is, Jocelyn, what advice do you have for others who are creating a business that serves both their world and their hearts?
Your business journey is going to be evolving as you evolve as a business owner. So don't do it alone. Make sure that you're surrounded by the right people and that you will, along the way, have to disconnect with people that are not going to come on a journey with you. That's one. It is almost a must. Because if you're going to do great things, some people may not be supportive for whatever reason that they have not worked on in their own internal world. And it's you on your way to lead, to create offers, products that will serve others. Your journey will be very different. So you've got to find new people who will see you, who will value you, who will surround you with, all the goodness, because that is important for success. And I've seen so many businesses dissolve because they're not surrounded by the right people and they're getting wrong advice. And so that's important. Number two is you do business because you already have everything within you. If you can use the 80-20 rule, trust yourself 80%, know that you don't need to access anywhere else. You have been called to do whatever business you're called to do, and it should come from within you. So with that in mind, there's no need to copy, there's no need to compete, there's no need to compare with others. Your way of you doing it in the most unique way is going to contribute and bless your clients. All of us have groups of clients that we are working with. There's 8 billion people on this planet, and the world still needs a lot of people to support them because there's a lot of pain, suffering, hurt. So you will never run out of opportunities because there's that many people who need someone else to serve them. So trust in the process of life to bring you your highest good. And number three is always come back to loving yourself, because the more you love yourself, and notice actually that you are loved beyond comprehension. You are loved beyond comprehension. You need to know that for your own grounding, anchoring, and that from there, from the place of love, you create products, you create offers, you create from that place, it then will flow. If you create from your mind can play tricks. So create from your heart, it's a whole different level. So do that from a place of unconditional love, full of gratitude, full of joy. If it doesn't spark joy, hey, maybe it's time to think of offering or creating something else or fine tuning it. But those three areas are the normal areas that I constantly hear, see, speak, train people on, because those are foundational. Those are not taught in uni. Those are not taught in academic classes in Harvard and wherever it may be, but they are fundamental. They're coming
Yes,
back
so
to the
true.
soul of our business.
Absolutely. I love your example there of an abundance mindset. That yeah, there's so many people on the planet. And if we're serving one point, 0.00, whatever that percentage is, that will still give us a very lucrative business. We don't have to be
Yeah,
pleasing 8 billion people. If we're pleasing
yeah.
1 million, 1,000 people, that's wonderful. And yes, there's definitely space for everybody to be able to share. And I love your sharing around creating from here. And that's the playing beautiful piece. And that's, part of my wish is to be able to have these types of conversations and businesses that are, out in the world, not just in Australia, but, all over the world, so that we've got people that are open-hearted and kind and living that and able to bring in the money to be able to support themselves. And as you were talking about before, offer and serve from a full cup so that more of us can be in that space and continue to remind each other to come back home to ourselves and work from this space. Today has been absolutely amazing, Jocelyn. You are so full of wisdom and knowledge, and you speak with such passion and authenticity. I'm so grateful to have you here as my guest and learn about you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, Debbie. You're a great host and wonderful questions. And I hope that our listeners, you'll be very blessed by this podcast channel and that your lives will transform in ways you never thought possible.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. The information provided on this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and should not be considered medical, health, or financial advice. Always consult with a qualified health professional or financial advisor before making any decisions related to your personal health or finances.